Welcome back to Digital Rage. Today we're diving into a topic that's often overlooked in the industrial sector, the evolution of the manufacturing web app. Specifically, how moving away from static catalogs and towards CRM-driven personalization can completely change the game for your sales funnel.
That is so timely. I feel like whenever we talk about personalization, people immediately think of retail, like getting an email about a pair of shoes you left in a cart. But in manufacturing, the stakes are much higher and the buying process is way more complex.
Right, exactly. This piece by Mira Makati makes a great point. Manufacturing buyers today expect more than just a list of specs. They want an experience that feels relevant and timely. If they're in the middle of deep research, they don't want to be treated like someone who just discovered the brand 5 minutes ago.
Exactly. It's about meeting them where they are. But how do we actually bridge that gap? The author mentions using CRM data, like from HubSpot or Salesforce, and pulling it directly into the web app using APIs. For someone who isn't a developer, how does that actually manifest on the screen?
Think of it as making your website aware. Usually, a website is just a set of instructions. Show this image, show this text. But when you integrate your CRM, the website can ask the CRM, who is this person? If the CRM says, oh, that's a procurement officer who has already looked at our pricing page 3 times, the web app can instantly swap out a generic Learn More button for a Request a Custom Quote call to action.
That's fascinating. So it's not just about the name at the top of the screen. It's about changing the actual journey based on their lifecycle stage. I love that. It makes the site feel like a helpful sales assistant rather than a static brochure.
Exactly. And the team at Bayer Co. points out that this is particularly huge for manufacturing because you're often dealing with different roles. You might have an engineer looking for technical tolerances on one visit, and then an executive looking for ROI data the next. With CRM signals like Buyer Role, you can prioritize the content that matters most to that specific person.
That sounds like a massive win for reducing friction. We always talk about how long manufacturing sales cycles are, sometimes months or even years. If you can stop people from having to wade through generic content to find what they need, you're essentially greasing the wheels of the whole process.
Precisely. And it's a two-way street. It's not just about what the user sees, it's about what the sales team knows. When these systems talk via API, lead capture becomes effortless. If a prospect interacts with a portal or a specific tool on the site, that data flows back into the CRM instantly. No manual data entry, no, oh, I forgot to log that call.
Interesting point. So the sales team always has the freshest information. But what about marketing attribution? I know that's a huge pain point for a lot of our listeners, trying to figure out which campaign actually drove the lead.
That's one of the biggest technical advantages Mira Makati highlights. Standard integrations often lose things like UTM parameters or the original campaign source as a lead moves through different systems. But a custom API setup preserves that full picture. You can see that a lead started from a specific LinkedIn ad, visited a spec sheet 3 months later, and then finally requested a quote. That level of insight is gold for a marketing manager.
It really turns data into a strategic asset. Instead of just having a database of names, you have a living map of how people are interacting with your brand. It seems like this is where the industry is heading, moving away from islands of data and toward a connected ecosystem.
It really is. The author notes that for manufacturers striving to differentiate themselves, this technical infrastructure is where strategic growth happens. It's about turning that raw customer intelligence into active engagement.
So if we were to summarize the big takeaways for a manufacturer who is maybe sitting on a standard, non-integrated site right now, what should they be thinking about?
First, realize that your CRM is a goldmine of signals, firmographics, behavior, and deal stages that shouldn't be trapped in a silo. Second, use those signals to reduce friction by personalizing the web experience for different roles, like engineers versus procurement. And third, use APIs to ensure your sales and marketing teams are working from the same real-time dataset.
It's all about making the digital experience feel as personal and professional as a face-to-face meeting with a sales rep. Great stuff.
Absolutely. If you want to dive deeper into how these integrations work, the team at Bayer Co. has some great resources on HubSpot and Salesforce set up specifically for this industry. Thanks for joining us today on Digital Rage. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Reach out to us at jbuyer.com for comments and questions. Follow us at Buyer Company on social media, and if you'd be so kind, please rate and review us in your podcast app.